we are supposed to understand obedience and healing. Yes, both will go up. There is a correlation, but that's not because obedience is causing healing. It's because both these things are caused by something greater, something that's a common cause. What is that? That is the cross.
Oh God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal hope. Under the shadow of thy throne, still may we dwell secure. Sufficient is thine arm alone, and our defense is sure. Before the hills in order stood, for earth received her frame. From everlasting thou art God, to endless years the same. 1,000 ages in thy sight are like an evening dawn, short as the watch that ends the light before the rising sun. Oh God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guide while life shall last, and our eternal hope.
The apostles are teaching us the things that happened to Israelites from when they were delivered out of Egypt and God led them through the wilderness and then to the promised land. That part you can understand typologically as pointing to Christ and what Christ does for us, the church, you see. So the tree is what? The tree is the cross. Everybody say the cross. The tree is the cross. Israelites would not have understood it this way. I don't know how much Moses understood, but we need to understand it as the cross. What did Moses do with the tree? He threw it in the water. What is the significance of that? Moses brought the tree, which is a symbol or the shadow of the cross, and applies it to the bitter circumstance there, which is the bitter water. The significance is we need to bring the cross to bear upon our bitter circumstances. We need to apply the work of the cross, the finished work of the cross, to our sickness and disease. That is the significance. You need to take the cross and apply it to, see, you didn't take the tree and throw it somewhere. No. Took the tree and threw it into the water. Where there was bitterness, the place where it needed some change, a miracle, that's where he threw it. What is the significance of that? Apply the finished work of the cross, the meaning of that, which you know, whatever you know already, to the particular area in your life where there is a problem. And here the emphasis is sickness in your body. Right? It's like, you know, we all have washing machines and we put these general washes, right? You know, just put the clothes in the machine. But have you noticed these general wash is not enough to take out some stains, right? Some stains don't come out just by putting it in the machine and taking it out. No. For some stains, you need to specially treat that stain. You take the soap or whatever the detergent is, apply it exactly on that spot, right? And rub. Sometimes you have to rub a lot. Keep rubbing till it goes away, because you don't want that. You know what I mean? Well, why do I say this? Sometimes, many times, we are only doing the general wash, Just generally believing that I'll be blessed. Generally believing, brother, I'm believing, I'll be blessed and God will bless me, God will change it around, turn it around. No, it's not enough. Not enough. You have to take it. The work of the cross must be applied specifically to each and every situation. If there is sickness in our body, we need to take it and apply it specifically to that situation. We cannot say, I believe in the cross, by stripes I'm healed, gone, done. No. Every day, stain may go off by rubbing for 5 minutes, but sometimes these things, sickness doesn't go unless you apply the work of the cross for days sometimes. It's required. Every day you look at that sickness in your body, you direct your attention towards it, and you say, the word of God says, by his stripes I am healed. By his stripes we were healed. And so I am healed. I was healed. I will take my healing right now. And you sickness, you get out of here. You don't have any right to stay here. You see, you apply it. You speaking is like rubbing at the place where you need it. And you keep applying it until it goes. You keep applying it. Everybody say, keep applying. You keep applying. If you notice, in a church like ours, I think it's true to say that most of us are experiencing a great blessing in terms of finances and material prosperity. I think I'm speaking the truth when I say that. Most of us are living in the blessing of material prosperity, financial well-being. We are experiencing that. It is growing in our life. We are seeing it more and more. We are being blessed, to the extent that they say that outside they are talking, if you go to that church, you'll buy a car soon. You'll, I don't know, that's what they say, They say you'll buy a bike or something will happen, What I'm saying is, to that extent, there is something happening, Usually there's no smoke without a fire, they say. Something is happening. People are buying cars and bikes and houses. And something is happening. We are being blessed financially and we are really increasing in that area. And we are bringing glory to God in that area. Why is that the case? It's not an accident. If you think about it, Pastor has preached so much on that area. He has emphasized that area. And so you have also emphasized it, heard it, and applied it to that particular area in your life, and you begin to see a great deal of improvement and increase in that area. It is the same thing, you see. One area of success in one area doesn't guarantee success in the other area automatically. What you did to finances and to material blessing and how you applied the truth of God's word to that must be done to the area of sickness as well, to the area of disease as well. We need to take, once again, we know the truths, but we need to apply it more. We need to rub it more on that stain. We need to speak more to that disease. We need to speak more regularly. We need to keep at it until it leaves. Will it leave, my friend? Yes, it will leave. It will leave. The cross has that kind of power. By his stripes we are healed. That word coming out of your mouth has that kind of power. It will leave. Everybody say, it will leave. It will leave. The cross has that kind of power. Is it possible for people to talk about this church that way? If you go to that church, you'll have good health. You believe that's possible? I believe that's possible. That's why we are teaching. That's why we're preaching this. Yeah. If it's possible, what did they say about the Israelites? Of all his tribes, not one stumbled. Not one stumbled. You think it's possible to say that about this church? I believe it's possible. It's possible, my everybody say possible. Not one. That will be an amazing day, don't you think? Not one. It's possible. If it's possible for the Israelites to experience that, it is possible for us to experience that. It's possible. And imagine how much glory that would bring God, you see. But it won't happen automatically. Application needs to happen on a regular and constant basis. What application? The cross. It's not your work, it's your faith in the cross. It's your faith in the cross, my friend, in the finished work on the cross. It's your faith that Jesus purchased your healing, and therefore you have a right for it. It's your faith that Jesus bore the stripes for your healing, and therefore the devil cannot say you can't be healed. Nobody can deprive you of your right for healing. Now we have seen two layers. One is obedience brings you healing. Another is applying the finished work of the cross to your situation brings healing. You can see the two, right? Well, how do you reconcile the two? Does obedience bring healing, or applying the finished work of the cross bring healing? It's a little tricky, right? Does obedience bring you healing? How are we supposed to understand the two together, right? Some people will say only obedience matters, Some people say only cross matters. Well, what is the right understanding of the two? Well, first of all, I believe you should notice that Exodus 15:26 talks about 100% obedience. 100% obedience. It says, if you give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes. You keep what? Not some, but all his statutes. Every single law, every single statute, you do everything, then I will heal you. 100%. So I do believe that if you can be 100% obedient, you don't need the cross. 100% obedience will bring you healing. I believe that. Yes, the Bible teaches that. But the problem is, has there been any person 100% obedient in the history of the world except Jesus? Nobody has been 100%. Okay. 100% obedience will bring you healing and blessings without the cross itself. I believe that. It is posited, it is put forth in the Bible as a possibility, but it's an only theoretical possibility because practically it's never happened, you see. And God said it like that so that you will see you cannot meet it 100% and you will look to the cross. So, what qualifies us for healing? It's not our obedience. Let me, with God, if you get 99, he doesn't have any mark called 99. For him, he has only two options. One is 100 and the other is 0, you see. We only have the 99, 95, 99.6, right? We take great pride in that. With God, he's such a perfect God. He's so holy, far beyond us, better than us, that he expects perfection. He says, is it 100 or is it 0? Well, it's 98. No. Is it 100 or is it 0? 99 point. No. Is it 100 or is it? That's the perfection God expects, It's a start in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 28, verse 1. I'm not turned there. You heard this already. Deuteronomy 28:15. James 2:10 says that if you miss one law, it's like you missed every single one. If you miss one, God will count it as you missed everything. God expects 100%. So nobody can qualify for healing on the basis of obedience because nobody can be 100% obedient. So you can qualify for healing only on the basis of the cross. So once I've said that, I know the question is arising, well, then can we throw out obedience? Is obedience not necessary? We don't have to obey anymore? Does this mean there's no connection between obedience and healing? Let me give you the answer. No, there is a connection between obedience and healing. You need to obey. It's very necessary, you see. Now, but let me also say, a person who thinks, I have the cross, I can live disobediently, I can do whatever I want, completely ignore God's laws, and still experience all the blessing and healing because God will anyway forgive my sin and heal me because the cross is there. A person who thinks like that, his biggest problem is not the obedience or the healing or the blessing. His biggest problem is this: he may not even be a true believer. Are you paying attention? He may not even be if a person really thinks, I can do whatever I want, I'll do whatever I want, I'll live disobeying God's laws, rebelling against Him, in the end, God is anyway going to forgive me and heal me, bless me. I'm qualified for the healing anyway. And so if they go out and live in rebellion and disobedience, that kind of person may not even be a true believer, because a true believer will never think like that. He will surely never live like that. Even if he lives like that for a while, he will come back, repent and come and obey. And suppose while he is living like that also, he will not think, oh, no problem, everything is fine with me. He will have a great disturbance. There'll be no peace. He'll be very disturbed, very upset with himself, because he is disobeying God and going against Him, you see. So, we are not saying you throw out obedience, you don't have to obey. There's no connection. No, there is a connection between obedience and healing. There is a connection between obedience and healing. In fact, I will say this, generally speaking, where there is more obedience, you will see more healing. I believe that. Where there is more obedience, you will see more healing. Where there is, generally speaking, okay, we are not saying every case will be like this. Generally speaking, where there is more obedience, there will be more healing. Because there are other factors as well. We don't have the time to get into it. Where there is more disobedience, there will be, generally speaking, more sickness. Yes, that is clearly taught in the Bible. Does this mean that obedience causes healing? No. You see, in the field of accounting, it seems they say, just because there is a correlation, that does not imply causation. I don't know if you've heard that. Just because there's a correlation between two things, that does not mean one causes the other. They give some funny examples for this. I'll give you one example. One is, it seems they did a study in some of the cold countries, and they discovered that there is a correlation between ice cream sales and drowning deaths, number of drowning deaths, death by drowning, okay, by going out boating or fishing or swimming and you drown in the water, sea or lake or whatever. They looked at the ice cream sales and the number of deaths by drowning, and they said, as the ice cream sales goes up, the drowning deaths also goes up. During, and they said, well, what? Just because this is an example, just because this is going up and this is going up doesn't mean this is connected to this in terms of cause, right? Is ice cream sales causing the drowning? Are the people eating the ice cream and then going and drowning? No. So they looked at it more carefully and they realized there is another thing which can be called a common cause, which is causing both these things to go up. What is that? It is summer. When summer comes, for us, all the time it is hot. We don't really appreciate summer, we hate it, But in the cold countries of the world, they really like summer, they look forward, because in the winter months, everything is ice, you go to the lake, the sea, you can't do any boating, fishing, everything is ice, you see. Nobody goes to the beach in the winter months, but when it's summer, everybody goes to the beach, they go to the boating, fishing, they're going swimming. A lot of people are going to the water. What happens when a lot of people go to the water? You have some accidents, drowning, but another thing also happens when summer comes. What happens? People are eating a lot of ice cream. At least there in the cold countries, right? People are eating a lot of ice cream. That doesn't mean the ice cream is causing the drowning deaths. No. Summer is causing both these things to go up. That is the way we are supposed to understand obedience and healing. Yes, both will go up. There is a correlation, but that's not because obedience is causing healing. It's because both these things are caused by something greater, something that's a common cause. What is that? That is the cross. That is the cross, you see. This is the right way to understand it, you see. If a person truly believes in the cross, they cannot be disobedient. You see, they cannot say, I believe in the cross, I'll receive my healing and my blessing and go away, but not be obedient. No. If you believe in the cross, that same cross which gives you blessing and healing will also give you a hatred for sin and will cause you to live for God and obey God more and more, such that you will be obeying, your obedience will be increasing. But that same cross will also cause your belief in healing to go up and your receiving healing to go up. So will both go up? I believe yes, there is a correlation. They will both go up. If this one comes down, yes, this one also will come down. That doesn't mean this is causing. You see, the cross, the grace of God is bigger than these things. See, I'm not putting down obedience, my friend, but I cannot put obedience on the same level as I cannot put your obedience on the same level of cross and Christ's obedience. No, never equal. That is only causing our obedience, helping us to obey. Without God helping us to obey through His grace that He reveals through His Son, we will not be able to obey. So, this is the way obedience is connected to healing. Okay, let's look at the next thing in this passage, which is the next thing in the passage, in the verse 15:26, right? Exodus 15:26. I will put none of the diseases on you that I put on the Egyptians. I will put none of the diseases that I put on you that I put on the Egyptians. Now here we have a problematic sentence, right? He says, I won't put any of the diseases that I put on the Egyptians. He says it as though He put it on the Egyptians. Now there are a few verses like this in the Bible, right? And the way we are to understand these verses, the language is pretty harsh. It speaks as though God is the one who put the diseases on the Egyptians. And in fact, if you go and read the story of the 10 plagues and all that, you will find some diseases in there, and you will find also that it says God, sent the plagues. And so there are verses like this, but the way we are supposed to understand it is to understand it in light of the big picture. You remember the big picture from last week? There was no sickness in the beginning, no sickness in the end. That demonstrates that healing is not a work of, sickness is not a work of God. It is not a part of the perfect will of God. But how do you, with that in mind, you have to understand verses like these. And so when you look at it in light of the big picture, the way I believe you are supposed to understand it is, God doesn't send the sickness, but when God pronounces judgment, right? That's different from sending sickness. When God pronounces judgment, and He is a judge, and He has to judge. He cannot look at all the wrong things that are going on and sin and be without judging. No, He's a holy God, and He's also a righteous God, and He's a righteous judge. When God judges, that brings the wrath of God. And when God's wrath is there, it opens the door to the work of the devil. It opens the door to the consequences of sin to increase in wherever, on Egypt or wherever. See, when God pronounces judgment, when does God pronounce judgment? When there is great deal of sin and rebellion. Okay? When there is great deal of sin and rebellion. So that's when judgment is pronounced. When judgment is pronounced, God's wrath is revealed. When His wrath is revealed, the devil gets in and has a field day. And the consequences of sin start coming. You see, that's what happened with Egypt. God Himself says in Exodus 12:12 that I will execute judgment. You see, Exodus 12:12, I will pass through the land of Egypt. I'll strike all the firstborn, both man and beast, all the gods of Egypt. I will execute judgments. He's saying not only on Egypt, but the gods of Egypt, They are believing and worshiping the wrong gods. I will execute judgment on those wrong gods. And when the judgment is executed, the wrath comes, and the wrath gives room to the devil and the consequences of sin. This is the way we are supposed to understand it. But some people will say, well, how can this God who judges, and because of the judgment these things are coming, judgment opens the door to this. Well, how can this God be a good God? Well, you don't look at a judge you don't look at the judgment and decide whether the person is good or bad, right? Do you look at a high court judge who comes home after giving the death penalty to somebody, and do you say about the high court judge, this guy is a very bad guy? What kind of a guy is he? He gave the death penalty. Do you say that? No. What do you think? You think, what kind of a guy would that guy have been to deserve the death penalty? A judge is supposed to give punishment where punishment is deserved, you see. And so why did Egypt, in one sense, they got punished? Because their sin was great. For 400 years, they treated the Israelites cruelly. They kept them as slaves, beat them, tortured them, you see. And not only that, they were living in sin and rebellion, worshipping false gods, refusing to give the true God his glory and his due. And so great was their sin. Sometimes we can't understand it because we're used to sin. But for God, the sin is too great. It has to be judged. And the devil comes in and, does all kinds of things, you see. But what I'm saying is you cannot look at the judgment and base whether he is good or bad. No. You have to look at other things, you see. But anyway, let's go back to our verse, 15:26. What does the verse say? I will put none of the diseases on you that I put on the Egypt. What is he saying? What is the point? I won't put it on you. Everybody say he won't. The point is, whether you understand or not how God is judging and all this, that's not the point. The point is, he won't put it on you. God is saying, I won't put it on you.
Give thanks to the Lord, our God and King. His love endures forever. For he is good, he is above all things. His love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise. With a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, his love endures forever. For the life that's been reborn, his love endures forever. Sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise, sing praise. Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever and ever. Forever God is faithful. Forever God is strong. Forever God is with us. Forever and ever. Forever. From the rising to the setting sun, his love endures forever. And by the grace of God, we will carry on. Everybody. His love endures forever. Sing praise.